Hello guys and welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Once again, this is the Starting 11 show and I'm Greg. I'm going to be giving you some team news as well as a prediction for what team Carlo Ancelotti might play. Of course, we've got Spurs in the Cup. And the main thing we've got to be considering at the moment is rotation and the need for it. Of course, we've got 2 weeks coming up now where the games come thick and fast. We've got Spurs, we've got Fulham, we've got City and we've got Liverpool. They're not easy games either. They're games where we're going to need full fitness, full concentration across the whole game. You know, we can't afford to be playing players who are slightly unfit, slightly slightly off the pace because we're going to get punished, especially in those later two games. In terms of injury news, James and Pickford are going to get late checks from Ancelotti, and it looks like Alan probably won't make it. He'll be back for Fulham. All things considered, fingers crossed for that. So looking at the team, if we can't go with Pickford, then we'll have to go with Olsen. Of course, everyone said very good things about Olsen so far. Everyone's been very positive. And then he goes out and makes a couple of mistakes against Man United, a couple of positioning errors, and then obviously the last goal was a bit of a freak accident, a bit of a trip. Your heels get caught. Who knows what happened. I think perhaps Everton fans were too quick to sing his praises after the period we had with Pickford, and have then since been too quick to criticise him after a couple of mistakes in one game, in a big game. Maybe also a byproduct of having Pickford and seeing these kinds of errors before lose us points. So it's got to be Olsen in goal really for a lack of options. Here's where things get interesting in the back line, because for me this is where the rotation's got to start. You know, we've got to start resting players who've already played, and we've got to start to be able to kick on. So I'm thinking at right back we might see Seamus Coleman here, a little bit out of the team for some fair time, but he seems to get played a lot in cup games. Maybe it's that captaincy, that leadership that we need. Cup games are very different to league games. It's not about an extended campaign. It's about, one game you win it or you're out. So I think we might see him at right back. Begs the question, who are the two centre backs? If we're talking about fitness, then Yerry Mina can be in there. He didn't play last time out. I think he's a good aerial presence. I think we'll probably see a lot of looping balls from Spurs. If it's Kane coming a bit deeper and looping a ball over for Son, or a ball in from the wings to Kane, I think Yerry Mina is well placed to deal with that issue. And next to him, I think it could be someone who's played next to him a couple of times, and it looks like a very good partnership. Ben Godfrey, I think those two make quite a nice partnership. They match each other's skill sets quite nicely. I think that's a very strong centre-back pairing, especially on this season's form. And then on the other side, I think what we don't want to do is sacrifice any creativity, especially if James might not be fit. So Luca Dean for me becomes the left-back option. This is where things get very tough, the two centre-mids, because as much as Decore is our go-to man here, he's probably our best fit centre-mid. He's had to do so much accommodating for Alan's injury that he's got to be knackered. And with these games coming thick and fast, I'm thinking, perhaps Fulham is the more smart game to rest him, but I'm thinking he might drop here. I'm not sure. That this is definitely one for the comments section. The given, I think, might be Tom Davies here. As controversial as that might sound, I think the given is that we've got Tom Davies, who had a very good game against Manchester United. I'll nail my colours to the mast and say I think Ancelotti is getting the best out of him. What we've seen Ancelotti do, as well as the big draw he's had on European players, great European players, Alan, James, is integrate players into the fold who have been on the fringes. Iwobi is the first name that comes to my head. There's others. I know Holgate was having a bit of a sharpened period, but he's part of the team unit. Who's to say that's not happening to Tom Davies now? Just because he's been more typically criticised, I think we're seeing the best we've seen of him. I think he's the best profile in the midfield for this game. Certainly, he's the one that's going to hold the most. And of course, unless we bring Besic, I know he's in the squad now, but that's never going to happen. And who plays next to him? There's a couple of names. Of course, I've mentioned Decore's. Andre Gomez could be there. We've seen Sigurdsson play in there. Could Delph get called back into the lineup? For me, I think Delph is he's had his time at Everton. I can't see anything a career here for him kicking on anymore. So for me, I'm gonna I'm going to push him to the side in this conversation. And I'll probably go with Doucouré for now. Doucouré for now, with the caveat that he doesn't play against Fulham and can get his fitness back. I think Fulham, because of what I was saying earlier about it being a sort of must-win, it's not about an extended campaign. It's important to sort of, and I think Spurs are harder opposition than Fulham, no disrespect to Fulham. Just in front of them, obviously James we don't know, so I'd go with Gylfi Sigurdsson. He's having a bit of an upturn in form this season. Again, maybe a case of Ancelotti bringing those players back into the fold who it looked like were right on the periphery. On the right, and this front line I think is going to need a bit of changing. Of course, James we're not sure about. So Iwobi, he's probably fit. He's been sacrificing a bit of game time recently so that we can get those back four in, and Luka Dean and James if he wants to play out wide. So I'm thinking good time to get Iwobi back in the fold whilst we need to rotate a bit. He's not even a second team player really at the moment. He's been pretty good this season. I think we'd all agree. Then our hands are tied going forward from this point, of course, because Josh King is cup tied, which means he can't play, and it means that we've got to rely on Calvert-Lewin up front, and probably on the left it's going to be Richarlison again. It could be Bernard. I'd be quite happy to see Bernard get a bit of game time. Otherwise, you think it sort of spells the end of his Everton career. I know he had the failed move go through the loan. But if not, then we're kind of stuck with those two. But rest assured, they will be able to get some time off, and potentially we'll see Josh King get his debut against Fulham. I think that's a team that could do some damage, guys, and also rests a few players and allows players to come back in, like your Michael Keanes and your Andre Gomez's, for Fulham, and still rest some players then. My team will be Olsen, Coleman, Godfrey, Mina, Dean, Doucouré and Davies in the midfield, Gylfi Sigurdsson, and then a front three of Iwobi, Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. What do you guys think about that? Are there players you think need more of a rest? Would you bring Bernard in? Do you think that back line's strong enough? And do you think the midfield is strong enough? Let me know, guys, what your team would be. Hopefully we can get a start on quite a congested run of fixtures, and I'll see you guys next time.